You're listening to AchtungMillwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to a rather grey and overcast, cool winds in the air at the Den here in South Bermondsey. The wind from the smoke from the cell chip power incinerator plant blowing dreamily in the South Bermondsey skies. Welcome to this quite crucial fixture so early in the season between the Lions and Blackpool. Here come the two teams, as you can hear behind me. Seems very early in the season to be talking about crises, but it wouldn't be Millwall unless we had an existential crisis or two every few weeks or so, would it, dear listeners? Your Millwall side today looks a fairly attacking side. Dare I call it 4-4-2, dear listeners? Up front today, starting Afobe and Matt Smith. Midfield, Jules Saville, Michael Keefton-Belt in the back line. I've got to ask about faces, my old mum would have said. Cooper, Ballard, Murray Wallace, and Scott Malone. So I'm speculating that it's 4-4-2. I could well be wrong. I make no claims to be any kind of tactician, as you know, listeners. But certainly Billy Mitchell starting too, sorry. Billy Mitchell and Bart Bielkowski go. I think that's everyone. I've made a bit of a hash of that, but you'll know the team by the time you get to hear this show, dear listeners. Millwall in their familiar dark blue shirts and white shorts. Blackpool in white with orange shorts, or tangerine, I suppose. Now, contrary to English common law, since the time of the Venerable Bede writing at Lindisfarne, Holy Island, we're going to be attacking the Coldblow Lane end in the first half. That's not been very well received, as you can hear. And it does break the custom and practice of many, many centuries, so shame on them. Lions without a win so far this season. It is a crucial game for Gary Rowett. Really do need, he said this himself, it's not just me, an internet idler saying this. He said that we don't want to go into the international break next weekend without a W in the column. 4 games, 2 draws, 2 losses for the Lions, and a bad one really last week at Cardiff. But hey ho, good win in the week incidentally, progress in the League Cup, 3-1 win over Cambridge, goals from Matt Smith and 2 goals from Murray Wallace and a near miss hat-trick for him, so let's hope for a repeat of that this afternoon. I do apologise, I get a bit out of practice with all this in-game commentary. Early break for the Lions inside the first minute. This is Billy Mitch on the right. Can't play the ball forwards. He's got Wallace, sorry, in an offside position. Ball bouncing around inside the Blackpool penalty area. Early right start. That'll be a free kick though, just to kill that little moment off, dear listeners. Blackpool coming into today's game in the third from bottom position. A break for the Lions. This is Keefton-Belt on the right. Didn't really have anyone in front of him there, but they come into the game third from bottom, dear listeners. 2 draws and 2 losses. Lions, by contrast, sit one place above them, fourth from bottom, so not a great start. Certainly this looks like a much more attacking side. I think I may well have dropped Jed Wallace out of my pre-match name check. I apologise, listeners. As I say, I'm a little bit rusty after the long break in proceedings, COVID-induced. Benjamin Bloom, one of our co-nominations for, what would he be? Podcaster, vlogger, I don't know, what show of the year at the Football Content Awards. He's put up a list, I don't know where he get these statistics from, but the Championship's top tacklers, which is one division that we do top. Millwall 19.5 tackles made per 90 situations perhaps. Anyway, we're topping that little table above Luton and Peterborough United, so that must be a good thing. Don't know. I'm going to say it's a good thing, but I'm not sure why I'm saying it, as proper form has been utter pony. But anyway, there we are. I don't think it's 4-4-2, listeners. It looks more like a 3-man defence, 5-man midfield and Look at me, I've got all woke. A two-man forward line. I was watching the German football last night. I had a game between Dortmund and Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim were playing your traditional 4-4-2. A little flick header on from Matt Smith there. Really physical, fast, entertaining game. I mean, the clash of styles. I mean, Dortmund were playing your kind of modern style, and Hoffenheim were playing 4-4-2. But I was really struck by if you move fast and pass the ball with zip, then tactics to some extent go out the window if you're playing at the top of your game, and that's not what we've been doing all season. Avery does well to dispossess the Blackpool player on the left. He's got no options in front of him. Good work by Avery there. Long ball forward, and Avery feeds Jed Wallace, who shoots from distance. 11 minutes, well wide of the left post. Mill's first real opportunity. This is Blackpool coming down the left now. 12 minutes, coming towards 13. It's going to be a block cross from the left. It falls back to a white shirt who have been guilty of some sloppy defence so far this season. 29 will have a go now. That's blocked nicely by Billy Mitch. Some really, really poor errors last week at Cardiff. We went a goal down to Cambridge in the week, as we did in the game against Pompey. And as we've said a few times, Fulham just wiped us out. So defensively, it's been where the problems have lied. Set pieces, but Gary Rowett was talking about in the week, and I hope they've been working on that. This is crossing. Jake misses his tackle, and 10 shoots well over the bar. 13 minutes. Writing in the week on the London News Online, Richard Corley refers to the Lions failing to convince defensively. Mill didn't dominate. This is against Cambridge. Didn't dominate the box at key moments in Cardiff, and gave away another poor goal against Cambridge. Jake Cooper giving away a cheap foul. He's clearly not having a happy time. It's a pull back there on by the two with Bennett Afobe as the ball was headed through. That should be a red card in my opinion. Afobe was through. Red card. 14 minutes on the clock. Flick header forwards. Afobe was in space behind the defence. Gets tugged back. Goal scoring opportunity. I think it was. Now he's got to walk. Big moment in the game. It's going to be a Mill free kick from 25 yards, I say. The Blackpool man trudges as the two. Trudges disconsolately from the sacred turf down the protective tunnel. It comes out for these moments, thoughtfully. So Blackpool down to 10 men. Big opportunity for the Lions to get that piano off our back, that Steinway piano. Get it off our back. And that 17th century harpsichord has leapt into my mind. Get that off our back. Jed Wallace, Scott Malone standing over the ball. Looks like it's going to be a Jed shot, I would say. Or will it be Scott? Also might be Scott Malone. He's going to have a go. Scott. It's on target, well saved by the keeper. Down low to his right. Will there be a game of chess tactically now from the Grandmaster Rowett to take into account Blackpool's diminished numbers on the pitch? That's going to run through for a corner on the left. 16 minutes. These are the times when Millwall this season have not really pressed home our advantage, where we've been on top. Well, not enough anyway. Taken quickly. On the right, it's going to be put into the mix by Afobe. It falls to Jed Wallace. Block shot. Murray Wallace, goal machine. Feeds Jed on the right. That's going to go for a right-sided corner. 16 and a half minutes. The cards have been dealt kindly to us, listeners. Lady Luck is smiling on us. It might be a Bermondsey Lady Luck though. She might turn on you. In it comes from the right, from Jed. That's headed up and away. It falls to Billy Mitch. Shoot, called a crowd. It's out now to Michael Keith. About 17 minutes. Sustained Mill pressure at the moment. He feeds. Can't quite get the pass to Murray Wallace on the left. Unlucky. Never been to Blackpool, listeners. It's one of those grounds I've never been to, and I can't give you a good reason. I suppose we haven't played them that often. I think I just never fancied going up there. It's always a miserable winter's day, isn't it? And I know that it's got the reputation of being the Las Vegas of the North, which I think is almost certainly going to be, overhyped. when you get there, a bit like Margate or somewhere, you know. Just never been there. I can't see that changing this season, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. Mill spraying the ball around like classic Ajax, early 70s Ajax, total football. Still in their own half, of course. Poor ball out of defence there. I think that was Jake again. Lions do recover possession. Jake seems to be going for an early midlife crisis, maybe 10 years early for him, I don't know. Perhaps he would get himself strapped across a Harley Davidson or something, hit the highway down through Reading. Another ball forward from Jake Cooper into Billy Mitch, but cleared. So I've got a proposition for you, listeners. Given that we're playing 10 men and we're still geared up for what looks like a 3, 5 and a 2, is it time, 20 minutes into a game where we really do need the game, is it time yet to bring in Conor Mahoney and react to that loss of a man by Blackpool? Conor Mahoney, who's looked good whenever he has come into the game, will give us artistry to unpick what will almost certainly be a mass of white shirts in front of us whenever we're going forwards. As it is, it's a long punt forwards for Blackpool on the right. Jed Wallace takes in a very flamboyant style, but the pass forward was not so flamboyant. So I'm just going to put that out there. 20 minutes in, I'm calling it. Bring in Conor Mahoney and Saville or Kieftenbelt. Take your pick. Bring Billy Mitch into the game inside, because we need a goal. It'd be lovely to get 2 goals, wouldn't it? Anyway, I shan't flog that one, listeners, but we'll come back to it if it's proven right at the end. 21 minutes gone in a match. Blackpool reduced to 10 men after that cynical foul. That's an old word. They used to use that a lot in matches of the day in the big match back in the old days. A professional foul was cynical. My point I was making earlier on about watching the German football, Hoffenheim being the team that I saw, they finished up losing it 3-2, but their style for a small club in German terms was very physical, very fast, moving the ball in a way that we don't, with a speed we don't. I'm just watching Lions now, 22 minutes. We've passed the ball back and forth across our own half. We really do want to be playing our football in the opposition half. Maybe that's seen as old school. I think it is in a modern game, but what I have seen is that it's effective. That's a ball out wide, too long for Scott Malone. Blackpool lose the ball just outside their own penalty area. This is Saville. He finds Smith. There's Lions queuing up to take in. There's a ball in towards Smith. Ball's now to Afobe, trying to work space. Lions just slightly overcooked that. There were men queuing up inside the Blackpool penalty area. Crowd getting behind the game. Poor pass by Jake again. He's not doing well, the boy, is he? 24 minutes. Well, so far, 29 minutes. This is not a game that will be troubling the compilers of greatest games ever videos or loops on the YouTube. Mill have the advantage. We, as so often, I think this is a historic thing that greater thinkers than me will have to work out, but we don't seem to press home our advantage when we have it. I think that goes forever, but certainly this season too. Ball forward towards Matt Smith, who flicks it on. It's going to be cleared by the goalkeeper. I said before kick-off amongst our WhatsApp group that we need a result today more than a performance. I stand by that from what I've seen so far. That's back to Bart, who clears. I think such has been the poor start to the season that it's the result and not the performance for me today. It would be nice to see a performance, especially in these circumstances, but so far can't really say that we're seeing a great performance. Ball down the right channel. This is Jed. It'd be great to have those words ran back down my throat. This is now Billy Mitch on the right. He's just dispossessed by the 9. It's the end of the transfer window, of course, this week. Today's the 28th. I think it's the 31st, which will be Wednesday, I think, when the window actually ends. A lot of speculation online about Marlon. Unhappy for reasons too deep for me to go into with your listeners. Ben Thompson possibly both going to Pompey. Links with, I saw a story just before kick-off. And Gary Rowett's desire to bring in more bodies, midfielders and defenders. It's given the state of our injury list. Blackpool carving down the right side. Nicely controlled by the 10. Ball's into the middle. Hesitation, almost releases the forward through. Keith and Belt, and eventually it's Billy Mitchell. You can hear the barracking going on for that moment of freeze. The 9 was almost put through again. The 2 best chances of the half so far have been Blackpool, thanks to Millwall errors. Nice taken turn by the 19. Jake should clear. Hesitation. Deviation. Hesitation. What was that quiz? Just a minute, isn't it? This is just a minute. Only stretched out over 90. Anyway, here come the Lions down the left side now. This is Afobe and Scott Malone combining quite nicely. 35 minutes on the clock. Wide. This is Billy Mitchell on the right side now. Ball's into the middle. That's too long. Better move, but too long, of course. The game, in my opinion, I'll say it again, 36 minutes, he's crying out for the artistry and dribbling skills of someone like Conor Mahoney. We don't have an awful lot on the bench. We have a lot of workhorses, but we don't have much in the way of what I call artistry, talent, that kind of, I don't know about genius, that might be overdoing it. And this is Blackpool on the left, the 19. Ball overhit, thankfully, because there were men three in the box there momentarily. Here they come again on the right side, though. 36 minutes. Bobby brings away. This is, I said at the start of the show, at kick-off, and I will say it to you again, shot from distance from the 9. Gary Rowett will be under pressure, listeners. This is a test. We have the advantage. We're up against a 9-man side, a 10-man side, and so far we're not looking like we have the wit to unpick their defence. It's like a Phobe's taken on. It's about all we need. In the centre circle, he's down on the floor. Keep your fingers crossed. They're coming down the left side. And that looks like a penalty to me. Ooh, wow. Jake pushed him over, listeners. It looked like a penalty to my unbiased eye. Thank whatever lucky stars or deity that you worship that we didn't get a penalty there. But given against us. Anyway, we're back on the attack. This is Scott Malone. Ball's into the middle. That's hoofed clear. Lions need to liven it up. 40 minutes. Blackpool will feel very happy if they can get through to the half-time dressing rooms at 0-0. Billy Mitch on the right side. We've got the whole team back behind the ball, packing their own distance between halfway inside their own half and the goal line. Jed Wallace floats the ball in. That floats across. It should be Scott Malone. Can he get a shot on target? Poofed over the clear with 2 men clear in the middle. There was Matt Smith and there was Benica Fobe. 42 minutes. The 0-0 on the scoreboard is looking back at me like the eyes of the old guru in the Kung Fu back in the 70s. One that said, "Patience, grasshopper, patience." And the 0-0, it looks like his eyes looking at me, calling for patience. And he's calling me grasshopper. Best bit on Kung Fu, always the intro, isn't it? The bit where he was dodging those star weapons that they would throw at you, like frisbees, star frisbees, and he had to dodge them. Much practiced at our school with real anything that could be made into a sharp-edged star. Who's your 3 to go out the door before 11 o'clock on Wednesday night, dear listeners? I've got Marlon, question mark. I've got Ben Thompson, question mark. John Daddy, question mark. All those must be candidates for the Uber, or the black cab, I should say, shouldn't I? Given this is Millwall. And then who we bring in, an attacking midfielder with creativity. That will be an interesting one. A lot of speculation after our show the other night about how the club went down the pan with the departure of Callum Davidson, who was Gary Rowett's sidekick. Went up to St Johnstone, of course, and has been doing well up there. It's been a poor half by Millwall, I think you've got to say. After the sending off, we've not really done enough. We've had moments where we've looked like we want to move the ball about at pace. That's going to be the key to unlocking this defence. Good work there by Scott Malone, winning the ball back in midfield. He's now finds Matt Smith. He's got Jed Wallace on his right side. Can Jed get the ball in? He can. It's overhead kick by Benica Fobe, just wide, spectacular. Pelé style. It's gone wide for a goal kick. No, it's taken a deflection. Forgive me, dear listeners. Gone for a right-sided corner. Jed floats the ball in from the right side, from the corner. It's headed clear. This is Benikathobe on the left side of the Blackpool penalty area. Ball into the middle, runs through to the goalkeeper. But certainly for me, question marks will be increasing if we don't get a win today, and we have to go to West Brom on the back of a poor start to the season. Don't like to say that, but you know, if I'm standing up here in the terraces, not the terraces, you know what I mean, the stands, standing in the stand, and I'm seeing what I'm seeing, why doesn't Gary Rowett, a football professional, why isn't he thinking in the same way? We've had a sending off, and we've really just stuck with plan A that we started against 11 men with. I don't get it. Maybe you can enlighten me, grasshopper. At the moment, based on how we're playing, Blackpool will be unhappy to go down to a shot into the mix there. That's going to go for the right-sided corner, but they will feel they can get something, and they got a chance from a set piece, right-sided corner. This should be the last moments of the first half. 29 doing an easy going shot. Oh, referee penalising. That's interesting to see. I've not seen that for a long time. He was strolling over there like it's Sunday afternoon, and he's going to, where could he be going? The tea rooms, genteel tea rooms. And then the referee blew up for half time. So anyway, it's Millwall 0, Blackpool 0 at the break. I say that's a disappointing half by Millwall. They really should be doing better than what they're doing. I'd also include Gary Rowett in that. Oh, the manager's gone out there to berate the referee. He's been shown a yellow card for that decision there. Yeah, well, bit of spark at the end of the half. Anyway, there we are.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, dear listeners, to the second half. Both teams just out of the dressing rooms. Much speculation online as to the nature of the changes that should be made. Many suggesting that it's Gary Rowett that needs to be changed. Mid-game, I don't know if that's ever happened, is it, where managers sacked mid-game? No changes on the pitch for the start of the second period anyway, dear listeners, so it's going to be the same as we finished. I can't believe that Conor Mahoney's not featuring in this game, but what do I know? There are many things that seem to be going on, not least I don't know, I can't believe that the players can be happy with the style that they're being asked to play here. It's boring for us to watch it. I wonder if it's boring for them to play it. I don't know. I mean, he's a professional, he's got to play whatever style he's told to, so, you know, but whether that's part of it, I don't know. We're spreading the ball out rightwards. This is now Jed Wallace overlapping on the right. It's 47 minutes. Ball's into the middle. It finds Benikathobe. Can he turn? He can't. It's a bit of early Millwall pressure. Jake, I don't know. All you're doing is speculating. I have no inside track on any of this, listeners. I don't know. I know what I think it might be, or one of the factors, whether it's justified in being reaction to the dispute at the heart of the club about, well, you know, booing of the knee and all that kind of thing. I don't know. We're going for this corner on the right side. We've got the area packed. There's a little head on. Went in the net, but it was disallowed because of offside, dear listeners. Flick header on from Saville, finds Matt Smith, who heads home. But the whistle went a good half a second before that chance. 48 minutes. So I don't know. I mean, like I said in the show in a week, I think that you can... if you talk about this, you run the risk of getting slaughtered online. A lot of people will come after you, but I can't believe it helps. That's all I'm going to say on it. Dear listeners, we are in the Football Content Awards shortlist for Best Podcast. It would give me deep joy if you would vote for us. All you got to do is go on Twitter and tweet "I am voting for @AchtungMillwall" in the @the _FCAs for Best Podcast. Thank you. It'd be wonderful to do well in that. It's just a real boost to us to be shortlisted for it. Best Podcast. We're up against some serious opponents. Some podcasts have a lot of financial backing. We do it from my spare room, basically, on my old laptop, my 10-year-old laptop. So wonderful. If you could tweet, I am voting for @AchtungMillwall, _FCAs for Best Podcast. You'd make my day, dear listeners. Nice, beautiful bit of skill by Murray Wallace, and by Benicophobe. Scott Malone wanted just a second too long. Beautiful skill by the two artists of the side, Murray Wallace and then Benicophobe. That's lifted the crowd. You can hear it. 51 minutes. Interesting that, unlikely source of artistry from Murray Wallace, but that was really nice by Benicophobe. And the lift it's given to the crowd. Can you hear the energy now in the crowd? And that was two nice little back heel moves by both of those players. Instead of this dreary percentage football that we seem to be fixated on. Ball down the middle of the 19. This is almost runs free. 1-0 to Blackpool. Defensive mishap between Bart Bielkowski and Murray Wallace. It's gone one. The player was left free inside the box. Another defensive mishap, listeners. It's gone 1-0 Blackpool in 56 minutes. He's got to make his change now, surely, dear listeners. Here he comes. Reactive again, dear listeners. Reactive again. 24 for 21. Billy Mitchell's coming off for Conor Mahoney. 57 minutes. Some unhappy people in the den, dear listeners. This is Jed Wallace, fires the ball into the danger zone. Let's put behind for a right-sided corner as we go past 60 minutes, dear listeners. It's going to be Conor Mahoney that is being pressed to take the corner. Swings into the near post. Oh, it's fisted away by the goalkeeper. Another left-sided corner. Will be Conor Mahoney from the left side now. Into the mix. Up and away. It's bouncing around. A lot of white shirts back there now, listeners. There weren't before. There'd be even more behind the ball. It's going to be a Millwall free kick on the edge of the penalty area. A little bit of argy-bargy. Savile's in there. 19. 9 wants some. Bit of pushing and shoving. We all need to keep their tempers. We'll do better actually picking the defence apart than actually trying to brawl with them. They are leading. Free kick Millwall. Just on the left side of the D. Probably about 4 or 5 yards short of the penalty area. Ticking past 62 minutes. Will it be Jed? Jed's over it. Mahoney has the air of a man looking to take a shot. He could do with a goal. No, it's going to be Jed. Strike, listeners. Top left-hand corner. 1H. Well, it's nice to feel some energy back in the place, listeners. When too long we didn't have that sort of overstruck ball there for a cross-field ball trying to find Scott Malone. Small wonder that Gary Rowett doesn't want to lose Jed Wallace. I don't know where we'd be without him, listeners. I really don't. As it is going to be a left-sided corner. Conor Mahoney's going to take it. 64, he floats it in. It's deep towards Jake Cooper. It's on target, but no power behind the header. 67 minutes, halfway through the second of the Lions, with a moment of magic, have clawed their way back into a game that was in danger of getting away from them with that sloppy defensive error. Yet another one. But anyway, now 1 each. We can press on and win this if we're careful in defence and look to take our chances. There's a phobia inside the penalty area. That's nice work by Ballard there. This is the 9 on the break. Can Ballard cover it? He can. As runs it out. Good work by Daniel Ballard. There's a little moment there where the 9 seemed to be free in space with very little in front of him. And so a big thank you to Mike Bissiccar. I mentioned the Kent Cup, a game against Charlton played in the 60s. I think it was 65. I just asked for a little bit more detail about the Kent Cup, and Mike has emailed me. Thank you, Mike. You mentioned the Kent Cup in your latest podcast. My memory of this competition is that it was played in the 60s, if not earlier. It was always played after the end of the season, which that one was, May, and always against Charlton, as far as I can remember. always at home. There were no preliminary games, Gillingham weren't involved, and you'd have thought they would have been as the only other team in Kent. Mike used to think it was a made-up competition to try and get a few quid at the turnstiles, which sounds about par for the course. But thank you, Mike, for that. And a big shout out to Brett Marchant in Oregon. Shot from distance by Aphobia there, runs through to the goalkeeper. Big shout out to Brett Marchant, listener in Oregon, USA. Nice to hear from you again, Brett. Blackpool player down at the moment. People filing for the exits, dear listeners. But from the Millwall perspective, this has been very poor. I mean, still 8 minutes to go, and we may yet get something out of it. But in terms of lack of imagination, but for Jed Wallace, we'd be bereft, listeners. Who's this? This is going to be George Evans for Keithton Bells. Holloway, there it is. And Jules Petchy, blimey, someone here goes back a long way. This is Murray Wallace now in the centre circle. Little ball over the top, intelligent balls for Scott Malone. He gets the ball into the box. That's cleared for another left-sided corner. It's been a lot of pressure for Millwall in the second half without any penetration really worth the name. That was a good chance for Evans a few moments ago. Well saved in all honesty. 89 on the stadium clock. Floated into the middle. It's towards Matt Smith. It's over his head. Back into the middle from Jed on the right side. Bullet header! Absolute bullet header from Jake Cooper. Right-sided cross from Jed Boy's man of the match by a mile. Buried, absolutely buried by Big Jake. Oh my giddy on! Things Mill will put you through, listeners. The things Mill will put you through. Oh dear, thank God for that. That's lifted a weight from the shoulders of the Den, as you can hear. 5 minutes overtime. Oh wow, relief or what? How do you feel, listeners? Ben Thompson's coming in. Matt Smith's coming out. Big round of applause. He's tried really hard. I don't think the service has been the best of Matt Smith this afternoon. He's won a lot of headers. The flick-ons have not gone to a blue shirt. More because, in my opinion, people are not working around him. Maybe that partnership will build. I like the look of the Aphobie-Smith partnership. Hasn't worked its best this afternoon, but two very spectacular goals to put the Lions 2-1 ahead now. So Ben to come in for the last few minutes of the game. Listeners, I'm reminded of a dysfunctional marriage. I'm not saying this might have been me in the past. Certainly not at the present, thankfully. But a dysfunctional marriage where problems get sorted out with a bit of, pity sex, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been a great performance, but we're going to get a win. We've got a bit of pity sex right late in the game. Perhaps I'll cut that. And there's the final whistle. A long-awaited win for Millwall. A long-awaited playing of rocking all over the world, surely. Overall, what can we make of that? Overall, I think that was not the best Mill performance I've ever seen, but it was, in the end, all about two spectacular goals for the Lions, and it's all about the result. Jed Wallace taking the acclaim of the Cold Blow Lane in. There it is. We're going to be right back, dear listeners, after the break, speaking to Graham Lionwall.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hello?
Jerry Skalak here, live from South Bermondsey Station this time, because
fucking police let the Blackpool fans through first. As you can hear in my voice, it's not particularly positive, is it? 3 points, I mean, that is at least we've fucking got 3 points. That is the only probably positive outcome of today. It was fucking horrendous, absolutely horrendous. The goal we conceded was an absolute nightmare. How do we let that in? No creativity against a team that's got 10 men for 75 minutes of the game, and we didn't. It's just nothing. There's just nothing to even talk about the game, particularly apart from the 3 goals. I mean, it's pretty diabolical. I mean, we just don't create anything. No chances. So slow. So fucking awful. Thank God we've got 3 points. That's all I can say, because that is, as I say, the only little bit of hope that we can kind of cling on to from that. Can that lift the players? I don't know. As I say, I don't think it's necessarily the players to blame. It is a Mr. Gary Rowett, and he's got some real problems on his hands, because if he carries us on, he will be sacked very, very soon, because it's not a good watch. We look poor. He's made signings that aren't working, or he's not playing them in the right positions. Players look frustrated. Players don't know what they're doing. And for me, it's not actually necessarily that we don't have good enough players. It's a management issue, and Rowett is going to be sacked if he doesn't improve this. I'm fucked off. Could have done something better today. Went to the den and watched that shit. At least we got 3 points. But that is all. Anyway, time to go home. Off for a curry tonight, so hopefully that will cheer me up a little bit more. Come on, you don't.
We're leaving the den now as it finishes Millwall 2, Blackpool 1, and yeah, it's just not good. I mean, like the 3 points paper over a huge gap, and as my friend Teddy Bellamy says, that, you know, with Jed Wallace, you know, just give him what he wants, because if we don't have Jed Wallace, we are in serious trouble. I mean, we're in serious trouble anyway. The goal we conceded, the ball that was played through, was a carbon copy. Away from always motorbikes or fucking ice cream vans when I talk. No, but that ball that Blackpool played through was the carbon copy of the one against Fulham, and they've scored again. That same ball happened in the second half, and it was just poor finishing that stopped the geezer. Can't remember centre forward it was now, putting it over. But Saville's too deep. What is he doing? What did he offer in that game? George Saville that we had and that Middlesbrough had was that sort of box-to-box midfielder, and he just didn't do anything really, did he, sitting that deep? Afobe again had another good game for me, although he was actually doing a lot of drop-in and getting involved in build-ups instead of, you know, scoring or shooting. But I thought he played all right. But one thing that's so evident for me is these free kicks and these corners or these dead balls that just don't beat the first man, and I don't know why they're not. Because I counted at least 10 dead balls that were easily cleared by Blackpool. Blackpool didn't look under any real pressure when we attacked, and it was just not good. But positive's positive. It's 3 points. International break where we can dust ourselves down and start getting some of these players fit again. Come on, you Lions.
Hi, this is Neil Fissler. The morning after the night before. A few hours to reflect upon yesterday's result. Gary Rowett, I think, got a bit lucky with that. I think he might have discovered what it's like to be unpopular down at the Den. Had we not have beaten 10-man Blackpool, who we made hard work of it. Let's not make any bones about it. Thank God for Jed Wallace. Absolutely stunning free kick to get us back into the game, and supplied an assist for the other goal, for the winner. But the question still needs to be asked of Rowett: why did it take him so long to make a change? This negative defensive football at home, where we start with 5 defenders, 3 at the back. Why? A team is down to 10 men and it takes you half an hour to do something positive. It just defies belief. The tactical ineptitude at times. That game was crying out for creativity. We were dominating it, but we weren't creating chances. And it needed Connor Mahoney, and Connor Mahoney came on and had a half-decent game, I've got to be honest. But why did it take him so long? I'm sat here and I'm winding myself up just thinking about it. But 3 points is 3 points, isn't it? Much needed. We go into an international break now, full of confidence. We need to get some of these injured players back because it's starting to look a little bit thin. And if we do lose a couple of people on the transfer window, when that closes on Tuesday evening, something like that, we look painfully under-resourced. But hey, 3 points is 3 points. Onwards and upwards. Enjoy the international break.
Hello, Nick. Tony Munday here. Thought I'd give you my 5 pence worth on today's game. Again, I don't know. We got the 3 points. We did deserve to win. I like the way we set up. So at the start, a bit more attacking, one less player in defence and one more forward. And Smith won all the headers, and I think it's only a matter of time before a phobie starts being able to read where they're going. So I think that's something we can be looking at, that forward line. It gave Jed a little bit more freedom. Jed was back to his best after 2 shockers. Played really well. Again, his final ball and his decision-making still lacks, but if he had that, he'd be a £30 million player, and we wouldn't have him. So that first half hour, Jake Cooper was honestly, his confidence looked shot. He didn't want the ball even. He couldn't pass it. He made mistakes. That was after mistakes against Cardiff last week. But he seemed to swap position with Murray Wallace, and he took the central role, and he seemed to calm down after that, and obviously got the winner. So we set up okay, and I thought we looked okay, but then we just sort of, I don't know, we just sort of going down blind alleys, and there was a lot of miscommunication up front and in defence. Like a couple of times we've just been looking at each other in defence, and the same, we're getting in each other's way up front. Just think of a lack of communication. But I say we got the win, and that was the main thing. I'm a bit, as you know, I'm a Rowett fan. I've been all along, and I like what he's building. I like the squad he's built, but I am getting concerned about certain things. Like last week, and it's happening more and often. We go behind, and then he makes a change and chases a game, and then we look like we've got a bit of pace about us and a bit of urgency, and that's just worrying for me. It happened against Cardiff last week. Happened again today. He made the sub straight after we go behind. Like, let's try. It seems almost like he doesn't want to give anything away. And when we go behind, also, then he has to make these changes and make these changes first. Let's play it. We need to play at a higher pace than we are. But yeah, we got the win. George Saville, I mean, I'm not sure how he stayed on the pitch today. I thought he was awful yet again. Billy Mitchell went off for Mahoney, where I thought Saville could have gone off and Mitchell could have moved inside. And then he took Cliftonbelt off for Evans. And again, Saville was the player who should have made way. It's obviously not back up to speed. Hopefully he is the same player. But yeah, onwards. Hopefully today's a turning point, and we do grow in confidence because we seem to be lacking some. Right, cheers, Nick. See you later.
4 words, 1 name. Jed Wallace. Enough said.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back after the break, listeners. I'm speaking to Graham Lyon-Wall. Welcome back to the show, Graham.
Well, that's good to be back on, Nick.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate. I mean, I was just looking through Twitter just before Graham and I were speaking tonight, and I was wondered what decorating metaphor you fancied taking, because they've got papering over the cracks, plastering over the cracks. I've put emulsioning over the cracks.
Yeah, I saw your comment, emulsioning. I think I'd have gone plastering. But...
Plastering. So take your pick, listeners. Plaster, emulsion, gloss paint. Any of those will do. It was. I feel for a 2-1 win with two really good goals, Graham. I feel really dissatisfied by what we've seen this afternoon. How do you? What was your take on the game, mate?
Exactly the same. I come away relieved. Obviously, we've got 3 points, but you know, as we said, papering over the cracks or whatever you want to say. I mean, you know, at times I thought we had 10 men and they had 11. It was ridiculous. Some of the tactics, the passing was so slow, and you know. And
well, this is it. I mean, this is one of the points I wanted to, you know, during the game. I may have already, I haven't done the edit yet, listeners, of my live stuff. But I was thinking to myself, I was watching some German football on Sky on Friday night, and one of the teams, Hoffenheim, were playing what I would call a traditional 4-4-2, Graham. And you know, it's not. It's become seen as old-fashioned, but they were playing it with some pace. The ball was being zipped about. The game was physical. They moved it, and that's kind of, you know, it struck me that it doesn't really matter what your tactics are at the end of the day. If you're playing at, you know, 5 miles an hour as we were today, then you're going to struggle. Whereas if you move it fast, you're in the game. As it turned out, they lost, but you know, they were certainly contenders. So I don't understand the instructions that Gary Rowett is sending his team out with.
No.
I mean, I don't know where you were in the ground today, but certainly there were, you know, cat calling or whatever you want to call it.
I'm very close to Harry. I'm in block 46, if the Docker's low. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it could have been a very different if the goal doesn't go in.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know what the end of the game would have been like, but obviously we've got the win. I just don't know where he's going with it, Rowett. I really don't now. You know, what is the plan? I don't see it. All it is they play it around at the back. And then today, obviously, with Smith up front, it was hit Smith. Now, Smith won most of the balls, but Bennett Afobe wasn't reading them, was he? Because Bennett Afobe was deep, you know, wasn't in the correct position to feed off of it.
No, it all seems very reactive, Graham. I mean, you know, we've chopped and changed tactics. Today we started with Smith and Afobe. I like Afobe. I think play him right, play him correctly. He's a quality forward.
I must admit, I was quite worried in the first half when he went down, because I thought, if he goes,
well, I mean, for the moment, we'll put Jed Wallace to one side, but I mean, Afobe and Jed are our quality turns. I mean, we haven't got much else. A thing that struck me, I mean, we started with the double, you know, Afobe and Smith up front, and as you say, I mean, we're hitting long balls, and that's fine to some extent. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know about you, Graham, but if you're mixing it up with other styles, but today we seem to have dropped the best of the passing style is you intricately unpick a defence by movement and, you know, triangular passing, all that kind of stuff. But we seem to keep our passing for our own half, and then we'll hit a long ball diagonal, which hopefully hits Matt Smith, and hopefully Bennett, as you rightly put it, is reading it. It was just like this kind of monotonous. You know, if we don't do it one way, we'll do it that way, but that's got to be relentlessly long ball. Where's the mixture? I don't understand the plan. I think I'm probably making the same point as you, mate.
To me, there was no plan, and it also seems to me, and speaking to people, we only seem to kick into life when we go a goal down or something.
Yes.
He then changes it. All right, you know, I didn't think Billy Mitchell played that bad, but he takes Billy Mitchell off and brings on Conor Mahoney, who, you know, he's got his critics, and he's an in and out player. But I feel with the situation we're in now, Nick, I think he's got to give him a run. I do, just to give us some creativity.
I mean, it's so. I mean, I've used the word reactive already. I'll use it again, Graham, because during the first half, as soon as the Blackpool man draws the red card, and I think it was a correct decision. You know, it was through on goal. He's been brought down. That's a goal scoring opportunity, and so a red card gets shown. But as soon as you have that, I would think. I mean, I'm not a football manager. I don't know if you've done any in your time, but you think, well, how are we going to exploit this situation? We're now a man up. I've set us out to be one style of play. We now have spare capacity to, and my instinctive reaction was, we'll bring Conor Mahoney in because it was quite clear that Blackpool were there to park the bus, you know, and see what they could get, you know, on the break. Well, you need a man that's going to hold the ball, dribble with it, and has that mindset that's looking for the creative option.
Yeah.
But we don't play him until
we
we've
go
gone
down.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's, we're being critical in the aftermath of a win, and at the end of the day, it's a results business, isn't it? But you have to look at the overall picture. I mean, that didn't leave me feeling satisfied with what I've seen today.
No, definitely not.
Two great goals. I mean, let's deal with the Blackpool goal first of all. I mean, we could have been 2-0 down at half time, Graham, because I mean, again, there was a couple of awful moments where it seemed to me we'd put Blackpool through on goal. And I don't know what's going on there. The defence seems to have had a kind of a collapse of some sort. I don't
that it seems to really, I don't know what's going on, is Jake Cooper. He doesn't seem his normal self. Now, whether that's because Hutchinson's out, and if you go back to the end of last season when we started shipping goals was when Hutch got injured.
You did?
And I don't know if Cooper was the same player when Hutchinson's not there. And, I mean, Ballard, to me, he looks a class act.
He does.
He really does.
Yeah.
He's on the ball. He wins at the ball. And, he looks a class act to me. But I don't know with Jake, he hasn't started the season very well. And, as you say, we could have easily been 2-0 down at half time, which
should have been in truth. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, a better side than Blackpool would have taken those opportunities, which we gifted them. Jake, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of musing on this during the game, and for a player who has been so good, there's been something is amiss, and who knows? I'm going to let the listeners have a think on what they think it might be, because I don't know. I think after that, you're in the realms of speculation. I don't think that Jake wears the crown of leadership particularly easily, Graham.
No, he doesn't.
Whereas Hutch is a natural in organisational terms.
Yes, he is, and that you've hit it right now on the head, Nick. Jake doesn't sit easy with him being the leader as such.
No, I put a caveat in because when he scored the winning goal, the joy on his face was evident. I mean, I'm not knocking his commitment nor his desire. I think he's got plenty, but I just don't think he's a natural leader, and that's perfectly fine because we're not all natural leaders. And I think he does need someone alongside him. And Hutch has been the perfect fit for him, but we're certainly missing that. So Murray Wallace, I don't think it's hard not to love Murray Wallace, but I'm not sure.
I've always stick up for him. Even I think I said to one of my messages to you, even the Fulham game. I mean, the guy got slaughtered by that winger. His name escapes me, but he never stops trying. He never gives up, Murray Wallace. And for a Millwall player, to me, he epitomises what a Millwall player is to me.
That was the point I was just thinking as you were talking. I mean, that to me is a Millwall player. I mean, you can talk about how. But then again, I mean, he shows moments, Murray, of real quality. I mean, there was a couple in the second half, a couple of back heels between Afobe and Murray Wallace, and I think I can't remember what I said in real time, but it was like a lift you off your seat moment. It was wow, look at that. That was one of those illumination moments. But there we are. There's something wrong in defence, something for Rowett to address. He seems to be aware of it. He's talking about signings before the deadline, which is on Wednesday. Midfield, I don't know, George Saville, whether he's suffering with Cooperitis or something. He doesn't seem half the player that we expected him to be, does he? At the moment, anyway. Why that is, I don't know.
But if he's I know it's silly, but he's a midfield player. But when he was here before, he was bombing on, wasn't he? He was like they have one waiting, and he used to bomb on, and then obviously get his goals. Where in this formation, he doesn't seem to have a settled role. If you know what I mean, he just seems.
I've got my own theory based on just purely on what I've seen this 5 games now we've played this season. First win today, obviously, but I think Gary Rowett is stumbling like a blind man in playing blind man's buff or something towards 4-4-2, because that seems to be the only formation that will keep a Den crowd happy, because it is fundamentally designed to get balls out wide and into the box, and we do have a measure of players capable of doing that and looking good. It's taken him how long? It's about a year and a half, and a COVID pandemic to stumble towards. But I think he's getting there, for better or for worse. I think that's where we're heading.
One thing I was going to say is just, as we say, what do you think about this theory with Davison going, Nick? So what's your, because to me, it's never been right attacking wise and the team. I mean, the last game he was involved was the 3-0 win at Forest.
Yeah.
And then during the COVID lock, he left. And to me, it's never been the same.
No, I mean, we're talking about Callum Davidson, listeners.
Sorry,
but he left us. I can't remember when he went there, Graham. He went last season
during the lockdown, wasn't it? When
the
we
lockdown
shut down
season. That's right. And he's gone on to some success with St Johnstone, who are one of the lesser lights in Scottish football. And he's taken them to a couple of cup wins up there and on into, I don't know if it's a conference, Europa League or Europa Conference League. One of those. They're doing well. They certainly raised their game by their own standards. But to answer your point, I think it's a very good point because we can only go by what we see. And what are we seeing? We're seeing good players coming in, but a kind of like a numbing lack of tactical nous and awareness. And that's what, when he first came to us, when Neil Harris left us, one of the things that did strike me is how he seemed quite a shrewd manager. He would make changes ahead of the game. He would form us up in a way that seemed to be, and probably the crowning glory was that 3-0 win at Nottingham Forest. I mean, I just can't picture this team now playing at a level that we achieved against Forest. Now, I think if whatever, we have no evidence, we're always on the outside, and I think that probably Callum Davison was the Dr. Watson to his Sherlock Holmes. It's that kind of you need another voice, someone that says, "What? Hang on, boss, think about this, do that, and that will happen." And he seems to lack that now, Graham. He seems a very dull manager now, doesn't he?
He does. To me, when he first came in, I love my hands up. I thought he was a breath of fresh air, and everything was going well up until obviously the Forest and what. But since we've come back, it's just. I mean, obviously last season was just dire, wasn't it?
It's dishwater. I mean, I think I used that expression in the previous show. Dishwater. There's nothing exciting. I mean, today's performance overall, listeners, if you weren't there today, then I would say it was a very incompetent performance, largely because we were chasing around like you're right. You said it correctly that they were down to 10 men, and you never would have known that.
No.
When they broke forward, they got their white shirts forward. They looked like they actually had some desire and they wanted it, whereas we looked like I don't know. We didn't look good enough, and But then saying that, we had two spectacular goals. I mean, the strike from Jed. I don't know if anyone else made anyone else man of the match today, Graham, but I can't think of.
He was head and shoulders man of the match. Just
absolutely.
I mean, where I was, he was just in front of me for the winner, and he just put the ball in first. You didn't think the ball come to him straight in, and then Cooper obviously finished it off, but.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the quality player. I think we'd be bereft if he does. I mean, we've still got a few days of this transfer window to go, and
there was a few rumblings today, like people saying, the thing at the end. I don't know if you're still there, Nick, but he sort of went to the Cold Blow Lane and he come over to the Dockers,
right?
And like people saying, is this like some sort of farewell? Because it was a bit OTT for just a win, but hopefully people, around me were saying, maybe we're reading too much into it.
I hope that's drama diva queen type behaviour, because I mean, if we do lose him, and he was a head and shoulder above anyone else on that pitch this afternoon. I mean, we need to sign very, very well to replace him. And also, I mean, it was great to see Jake Cooper bury that header for the winner late. But that seemed to get like a burden off of his background.
It did.
And I wondered, funny enough, you say about Jed and farewell. I wonder whether that was the late appearance of Ben Thompson, whether that was a farewell.
I think,
I
think if Rowett has his way, it will be. But I don't know if it seems Portsmouth can't seem to get the package together to to sign him.
No, and also, we've not mentioned Marlon, who wasn't in the squad today. I saw a story, however flimsy, I don't know. You can't believe what you read on the internet, listeners. But I think Pompey were linked to taking
I saw
Marlon.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
Which may be for the best for all concerned. So I think that will be a sad end to what has been a very, very good career if that's what it comes to with Marlon. But I think sadly, trenches have been dug, and it may well be for the best for him. But we didn't see him at all today. But there we are. I keep trying to console myself. Well, not console. We've won. I think I'm trying to tell myself that we've won. It's 3 valuable points. We're now 17th. I mean, I know it's early doors for the table, but that would have been a tough gig for Rowett if we got beat down. And we could have been done very easily. They could have nicked that today.
Yeah. I think it would have been very tough for Rowett if we'd have lost. Definitely,
Where do you stand on the Rowett question, Graham? Are you for keeping, or are you for sacking? September is looming next week. We've got some tough games coming up, mate, haven't we?
Yeah, West Brom and then Swansea. I think the next 2 are both away. I don't know. I was, against or for Rowett, but I don't know. He doesn't. As the weeks go by, I'm leaning more and more the other way, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean entirely. I think, today obviously bought in time. I think there were certainly rumblings. Listeners can make their own judgment, and you'll hear a little bit on the live piece that I did earlier on. People were not happy, but it was all softened by the winning goal on 90 minutes from Jake Cooper. So you leave with a kind of a sense of uplift after a game that really didn't deserve it. I don't know. I mean, we're not a sacking club, Graham, are we? We historically we persevere with managers a lot longer than other clubs seem to do in the Championship. And then we've got the next question: who do you bring in? Anyone that's saying Chris Wilder, but whether we've got the budget for that, I don't know.
It's just one point I wanted to. What Aaron said last week when you had him on, regarding John Berylson's plan for Millwall, and what and it had me thinking. I'm thinking he's right. What is John Berylson's plan for Millwall? Is it to just be a Championship, not so much yo-yoing, but sometimes going down to League One and then coming back up, and is there no plan to try and push us on?
I don't know. I mean,
it really got me thinking when Aaron said that. I'm thinking he's right. What is John?
What is his plan? I don't know. People get very sensitive when you start to talk. The way we would talk about another club in the Championship would be to make these points. Well, if you have a chairman that's keeping us afloat without really putting the kind of investment that you need, whether that's what you like to hear or not, you talk about this free and easy about I don't know, Charlton or whoever you like, But when it comes to us, the wagons get drawn into a circle, and it's seen as being disloyal in some way. I don't know. I think John's certainly what he's achieved with us has been magnificent. I think he'll go down in Mill history as one, if not the best Mill chairman ever. To get to the next level is probably going to require money that's for playing purposes that is not there. He's probably willing to, keep us afloat, which is no bad thing because you look at other clubs and see where they're at. But to get any higher, no, you're going to need a different level of money. That's just how the Championship division is now, Graham, isn't it?
It's frightening, really. When that Fulham came the other week, and you just think, it's just another level, isn't it? And the fact that they're too good for the Championship, but they're not good enough for the Premier League. So they just keep yo-yoing. There's them, there's Norwich, there's Watford. They just seem to yo-yo between the leagues, obviously making quite a bit of money. But
what they do is, and Brentford did this very, very well. Look at where they're at now.
Yeah,
they were once.
Brentford way was something that interested me a few years ago, but we obviously
They focus on players that we don't focus on for whatever reason. So take Norwich, take Brentford, take Fulham, obviously come from the Premier League, but each of them in their different ways. They go for a lot of foreign players who are not top drawer in their countries, but they seem to have been trained, and they have a technical ability that is not always apparent in the British kids. I mean, we have a lot of very willing workhorses, it seems to me. I'm not saying this to be cheap or nasty, but then you see the players that pulled us apart, say Fulham, the lot of Portuguese kids. They seem to sign from Norwich, signing the Finnish guy, what's his name, Pukki,
yeah.
Players like that, they're ilk. They're not
players like that who are too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Premiership. The bloke from Fulham, Mitrovic, he's the same.
Mitrovic is a quality turn. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he does it in the Championship, but when they go up to the Premier League, he doesn't score and he finds himself out of the team. Yeah, but,
it's a lucrative business being a yo-yo between the Championship and the Premier League. Not so lucrative being a League One Championship yo-yo, which is where we're at, really.
But also, obviously, with these parachute payments and all, because we're at such a disadvantage from day one, haven't we? Really? Because
absolutely. I mean, I haven't got the valuations of the Fulham squad, and West Brom seem to be, going for it. I mean, if John Berylson's covering our losses, which are 10 to 20 million, for example, well, that's one or two players in that Fulham squad that pulled us to pieces the other day. There we are. That's the story of being a Millwall fan, Graham, I'm afraid, mate.
Oh yeah, without doubt. But I just felt, I think you said the same on the previous, but there was optimism though, wasn't there? And it sort of really drained away very quickly.
Well, there can still be it. I mean, I think we've seen in little phases.
And we've got injuries, obviously, to people.
Yeah.
Like Hutch, Mason Bennett. I know people say, well, he's always injured, but they are two players in particular who could make a difference to this team,
Absolutely. A fit Mason Bennett is a top 10 Championship player, and that's
without doubt. Yeah.
That's the kind of player that you need. Luck plays its part as well as the all that Gary Rowett can do is make the tactical decisions and team selections. But he just about got away with it today. I think.
He seriously got away with it today. As I said to someone, he's got out of jail there.
Got out of jail like Monopoly, like the man in Monopoly board. There we are. Yeah. Graham, that's great stuff, mate. I really appreciate you taking time on your Saturday night, mate. Good to talk to you.
Enjoying it.
And we'll be hearing from Graham later on in the season, dear listeners. So thank you to Graham.
Thank you for listening to AchtungMillwall. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a cheeky little review. Arrivederci Millwall. Till next time.
Who do you want to watch?